What if I told you the first hero of the space age wasn't an astronaut and wasn't even human? She never volunteered for the mission. She never had the chance to return home. Yet her journey became one of the most unforgettable stories in the history of space exploration. For decades, the world believed one version of what happened. But years later, newly revealed information uncovered a heartbreaking truth. Who was Laika? What really happened inside that tiny spacecraft? Stay with me until the very end, because this is one of the most emotional stories ever told in the history of space exploration. The year was 1957. The Cold War had divided the world into two powerful rivals, the United States and the Soviet Union. Their competition extended far beyond politics. It became a race for technological superiority, scientific achievement, and global influence. Space quickly became the ultimate battlefield. Every successful launch was celebrated as proof of national strength. Both nations were determined to make history first. But one decision made by Soviet scientists would surprise the entire world. Before risking a human life, scientists needed to answer one critical question. Could a living creature survive the powerful forces of launch and the harsh environment of space? To find the answer, they chose dogs. Dogs were known for their calm behavior, intelligence, and ability to adapt to difficult conditions. Many of them had been rescued from the streets of Moscow, where surviving harsh weather had already made them remarkably resilient. Among those dogs, one small stray was about to change history forever. Her name was Laika. She was a small, mixed-breed stray dog rescued from the streets of Moscow. Weighing only about 6 kilograms, she had a calm and gentle personality. Scientists believed her size and temperament made her an ideal candidate for the mission. No one could have imagined that this ordinary stray dog would soon become one of the most famous animals in history. But before reaching space, Laika would have to endure weeks of intense preparation. Laika's training was demanding. She spent long hours inside increasingly smaller capsules, preparing for the confined conditions of spaceflight. Scientists carefully monitored her heartbeat, breathing, and stress levels throughout every stage of training. Despite the challenges, Laika successfully completed every test. But there was one heartbreaking truth she could never understand. This mission had never been designed to bring her back to Earth. And on launch day, history and tragedy would meet for the very first time. Time was running out. After the success of Sputnik 1, the Soviet Union wanted to achieve another historic milestone before the anniversary of the October Revolution. Engineers had only a few weeks to design and build a new spacecraft. The result was Sputnik 2, a spacecraft created to carry a living passenger into Earth's orbit. But hidden behind this extraordinary mission was a heartbreaking reality. The spacecraft had no system to bring its passengers safely back to Earth. From the very beginning, this was a one-way journey. Laika had no way of knowing that her mission would become a permanent part of history. On the morning of November 3rd, 1957, Laika was gently placed inside the spacecraft. She was secured inside a specially designed cabin equipped with food, water, oxygen, and scientific monitoring instruments. Engineers carefully checked every system one final time before launch. Some later admitted that they felt deeply emotional, knowing there was no plan to bring her home. The countdown had begun. History was only moments away, but so was heartbreak. Ignited with incredible force. Flames and smoke surrounded the launch pad as Sputnik 2 lifted into the sky. Within minutes, Laika became the first living creature to orbit the Earth. Around the world, newspapers celebrated the achievement as a remarkable scientific breakthrough. But inside the spacecraft, conditions were becoming far more difficult than anyone had expected. What happened next would remain hidden from the world for many years. As Sputnik 2 continued orbiting the Earth, scientific instruments transmitted valuable information back to researchers. They recorded Laika's heartbeat, breathing, and physical responses during launch and the first stage of the mission. These observations helped scientists better understand how living organisms react to spaceflight. However, the spacecraft's cooling system failed to regulate the cabin temperature as planned. The heat inside the capsule rose rapidly, creating conditions that Laika could not survive. But the public would not learn the truth for decades. At the time, official announcements suggested that Laika had survived in orbit for several days. But years later, after additional historical information became available, scientists revealed what had actually happened. Laika had died only a few hours after launch due to overheating and stress inside the spacecraft. Although the mission ended in tragedy, the scientific data collected contributed to improving spacecraft engineering and life support systems for future missions. Laika's journey became one of the most emotional chapters in the history of space exploration. But her story was far from over. Her legacy would continue to inspire and challenge the world for generations to come. As news of Laika's mission spread spread around the world, millions watched history unfold. Newspapers praised the Soviet Union for achieving another milestone in the space race. To many, Laika became a symbol of scientific progress and national achievement, but not everyone was celebrating. Animal welfare organizations, scientists, and ordinary people began asking difficult questions. Was any scientific achievement worth the life of an animal? For the first time, the ethics of space exploration became part of a global conversation. Yet one important question still remained unanswered. What had really happened to Laika? For many years, the official story remained unchanged. Reports claimed that Laika had survived in orbit for several days before her mission came to an end. But historians and researchers continued searching for the truth. Eventually, newly released information revealed what had actually happened inside Sputnik 2. Laika had died only a few hours after launch because the spacecraft's cabin became dangerously hot. The revelation shocked many people around the world and changed how history remembered the mission. It also sparked new discussions about honesty, responsibility, and scientific ethics. Although Laika's mission ended in tragedy, it provided valuable scientific knowledge. Researchers gained a better understanding of how living organisms respond to launch, weightlessness, and the environment of space. Engineers used these lessons to improve spacecraft design, environmental control systems, and life support technology. Those improvements helped make later missions safer for both animals and humans. Laika never returned to Earth, but the knowledge gained from her mission continued to shape the future of space exploration. Today, Laika is remembered as much more than the first dog in space. She has become a lasting symbol of courage, sacrifice, and the ethical questions surrounding scientific progress. Her story is preserved in books, documentaries, museums, and memorials across the world. Generations continue to learn about her remarkable journey and the difficult decisions made during the early years of the space age. History remembers the mission, but millions of people remember Laika herself. History often celebrates extraordinary achievements: the first satellite, the first human in space, the first steps on the moon. But behind some of these historic moments are stories of sacrifice that deserve to be remembered. Laika never chose her mission, yet her journey became one of the most unforgettable stories in the history of space exploration. So before we continue, ask yourself one question: can scientific progress ever justify a sacrifice that offers no chance of return? The answer is yours to decide. Laika's mission marked an important turning point in the history of space exploration. The data collected during her flight helped scientists better understand how a living organism responds to launch and the harsh conditions of space. Engineers use this knowledge to improve spacecraft design, environmental control systems, and life support technology for future missions. Every successful space mission that followed built upon lessons learned from many earlier experiments, including Laika's. Her journey became part of a much larger story, but one question still remained: how would history remember Laika? Today, Laika's story is remembered far beyond the space race. Her journey is shared through museums, books, documentaries, and classrooms across the world. She has become a symbol of scientific ambition, sacrifice, and ethical responsibility. Her story reminds us that every great breakthrough comes with difficult choices and important lessons for future generations. Perhaps her greatest legacy isn't found in a museum. It's found in the conversations her story continues to inspire. Since 1957, humanity has achieved extraordinary milestones in space exploration. Astronauts have walked on the moon, space stations have remained in orbit for decades, robotic spacecraft have explored distant planets and traveled beyond the edge of our solar system. Each mission has expanded our understanding of the universe, and the earliest missions, including Laika's, remain an important chapter in that remarkable journey. Her story continues to remind us where this incredible adventure began. Scientific discovery has always demanded courage, determination, and difficult decisions. History remembers the achievements that changed our world, but it also remembers the lives that became part of those achievements. More than 6 decades later, Laika's story continues to inspire discussion about the balance between scientific progress and compassion. She was more than the first dog in space. She became a symbol of both human ambition and the responsibility that comes with discovery. And that is why her story still matters today. Laika never returned to Earth, but her name became a permanent part of the history of space exploration. Her mission reminds us that every great achievement is measured not only by technology, but also by the lives and sacrifices behind it. More than 60 years later, one small stray dog continues to inspire curiosity, reflection, and respect around the world. History is not only about rockets, missions, and milestones. It is also about courage, sacrifice, and the lessons we choose to carry into the future. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, subscribe, and share this video. And before you go, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe Laika's mission was a necessary step in the history of space exploration, or a sacrifice that should never have happened? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, thank you for exploring history with us. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.